Liz, there's Liz, that's you. So I need to like the copies. I have to.
Just like the road construction's all wrapped up between here and Green.
Is it?
Yeah, I drove out Monday and everything
Wow.
was clear. And they Monday they were moving all the heavy equipment off of that repair right by the Y.
Yeah.
Yeah, they pulled all the heavy equipment out on paving and stuff. Yeah.
Seeing the agenda. You have somebody? I do, but I just always go like straight there and then I'll be talking. It'll turn off. It's going on 74, but I don't. Yeah, off camera, Leslie, off camera. Yeah, right. That would end up on the news for sure.
It is summer. I'm grateful for you three for being here. Dustin shows up. My wife's district had to cancel their board meeting next week, and they canceled the previous one for lack of more vacation and different things. Thank you for being here.
So I see, I tried to take an agreement. When because I want to see exactly what was contributed to charter, prior to that review. So she'll be here. She's gonna view it on the 29th.
We have a forum, so I'd like to call to order the PCOE PUSD joint board meeting. And board member Reed could lead us in this whole.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Edmund, here, Harrison. Here.
Thank you. Seeking approval of the agenda.
So
Second. There's a first and there's a second. All of those in favor? Aye. Motion. The agenda is approved. Any public comment at this time?
Just like to introduce a new member of our team, cabinet. We have Andrea Sarasola is our new director of student services. This is her first board meeting with us. Just like to say welcome.
welcome.
Okay.
There being no other public input, we'll move on. Student achievement.
So
That.
yeah, we have a presentation this afternoon from Suzanne Shelton and the Plymouth Crisis Intervention Resource Center. So my understanding is they presented to classrooms in the past and are looking to come back in and work with Plymouth Unified and work in the classrooms again. And I wanted to bring them to present to the board as what they're going to what they're gonna be presenting, because some of these subjects are touchy. So this is information for it.
There you go.
So my name is Kathy Romeyer. I'm the Director of Operations for Plymouth Crisis Intervention. We've been running the rape crisis program in Plymouth and Sierra counties since the late 70s. What we're going to present today is our prevention programs for the schools all the way through K-12.
My name is Suzanne Shelton. I'm the program coordinator. I've been doing this for 23 years, and I've been in the Loyalton High School. I have not presented to Plymouth County. It has happened in the past. So what you have in front of you is a list of the topics that we can cover. I have covered most of these topics at Sierra County schools. And as far as my body belongs to me, just each topic a little bit with the little guys, I'm very careful about the language that we use. And like it's your body parts are covered by your bathing suit by the little kids. In this folder is an example of some of the material that I can use. I can change anything because I realize it's a topic that can make people feel uncomfortable. Obviously, permission slips from parents are very important. When we get up to more of a high school level, what we've done in the past is for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. I've set up a booth with, there's an example of what I might hand out to the students. Granted, that's not getting permission from parents, but we've always had success with that in the high school. Just a booth, say at lunchtime where they come up, they get some giveaways, they get something to read, and they do read them, most of them. They take a good look at it. So that way I'm hoping to reach at least every student. That's the hard part. I realize scheduling is really hard. If there's a senior issues class, we've been in those, a health class, because this is not sex ed. This is about healthy relationships. And what does an unhealthy relationship look like? What are the red flags? Those are the things that I would talk about. And if you see those, what can we do about that? What is sexual assault? So there's definitions in here so you can see what that looks like and what is consent. A lot of the students don't even know that it's illegal to give consent when you're under the influence of drugs and or alcohol, or it's illegal to have sex in California under the age of 18. They don't know those things, and when they get caught into those situations, it can be very traumatizing and life altering for them. So those are the subjects I like to touch on. And I'm very careful to my knowledge. I think, Ian, you might be able to attest to this. Never had a parent complaint, I don't think.
No, we
It's
haven't.
really careful. I'm really cautious of that.
I can just share that I've worked with Susie for the past 20 years plus in the Sierra County schools, all the way from the TK to 12th grade. The littles, we definitely do permission slips. We open it for parents to look at the stuff ahead of time. We've never had any issues with it over the years. And in the past couple of years, actually bringing in speakers that actually work with sex trafficking has been amazing. So but we've never had any issues.
So I don't know if you're familiar with Awaken out of Reno. We can bring them in and talk to the students, talk to you with staff. We've had staff meetings and brought them in just to talk about sex trafficking, what's offered, what to watch out for. The red flags around that is really crucial. And bringing an outside person in that directly works with that, I think is more impactful. And they do a really good job of bringing that in. So those are the things that we offer. And you can let me know how you think you can make that work or what you want it to look like. But that's what we can do for you and for the students.
We also bring in self-defense trainers and have little classes for the kids as we have those schools as well.
Is there any questions around that? Because it is a touchy topic, but it has to be addressed. I'm careful, but the kids come out with more stuff. You know how the students can talk. But, you know, everybody worries, you talk abstinence and all of that. We do with the older kids. We talk about all of that and safe sex. All of those things are really important for them to know about.
We did My Body Belongs to Me at the elementary level here for several years. And the parents opted in through permission slip, and then we would share video clips that were sent to us, and we didn't have issues.
The video that I do like to use for that is probably the same one that you're talking about. I can't find one I like better. I wish they would redo it. I really do. I've searched and searched, and I just very much dislike some of the stuff that's been created with the little guys. This one they laugh at, they have fun with. It is old, but the message is still clear. It's easy, they have fun with it, but they hear the word, you know, the message we're trying to put across. I think that's really important. I don't want anybody to walk out, parent or student, and feel yucky, dirty, afraid. That's not the point. This is just about prevention education.
I will share with you that the bulk of the people, probably 90% of the clients that we have in our sexual assault programs are coming to us now because they are adults who are molesting children. We want to get on the front end of this and not have that happen. That would be the goal.
So is this like once a year or once a semester?
You know, that's up to you. Once a year for, say, the My Body Belongs to Me, the Good Touch, Bad Touch. Once we get to the older students, there's a healthy relationship curriculum, there's around domestic violence, that we can do one on giving consent and sexual assault. So that could be 2, possibly 3. If you're interested in, you know, promoting Domestic Violence Awareness Month or Teen Dating Violence Awareness Month, to reach all the students, we can create material that I can just be present to talk to the kids, hand out to the kids. We get them to the table with obviously giveaways. Sometimes we have a big bowl of candy, but it brings conversation between the students, and at least hopefully is junior high in the high school?
Yes.
So we did it still, even with junior high being in there, they still got the same information as 9th through 12th grade.
So perhaps once a quarter, because then you have a continuous stream of messaging throughout the year. You're not just a one and done.
Yeah, it's more like saturation, not a little bit of sprinkling here and there, you know, because you forget.
My plan is to bring ladies in, at the end of our ILT, when we have our principal meetings, we have like groups. So we put all the junior high school principals go to the elementary and have them come meet with the 2 groups. So they can set up a plan that is universal. So the kids in each community are all getting the same messaging and the same coverage. And then we can also talk about the consent and make sure that our messaging is clear. And, you know, the goal of something like this is, I don't ever want a parent to come back and say, I had no idea. Yeah, so we will, you know, we're not just gonna say, okay, they're here, they're gonna present, they're gonna start the first week of school. Yes, we want to get something going right away in the first quarter, but we're gonna meet with principals and work on the plan to put this out. And it would be very top down for us to say, okay, principals, this is what's coming, this is what you have to prepare for. We want to be part of the process.
Especially in today's political climate where things are changing and there's so many other things that are coming down. Parents are fearful, I'm fearful as a grandmother. I mean, it's like the message is different now. That's not the message our agency is going for at all, not in any way, shape, or form. But parents might be fearful of that, so clarity is really important.
I would also suggest a couple of years ago, we did staff training where they brought in the Awakening group from Reno just with the staff, just to show them what to look for if the child is being talked to through social media or trafficking is happening. And that was eye-opening and shocking to the staff, like they had no idea.
And our staff often asks for trainings like this.
Well, I'm more than happy to bring material.
Yeah, it'd be great to get our prevention team on board because they can attend all of your trainings and then help with your efforts going after the fact.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
We have done staff trainings in Lewis eons ago, so you can get on that calendar, that's fantastic.
We will be in touch.
Perfect. Thank you for your
Thank you,
time.
guys.
Any questions? Appreciate it.
If as board members you have questions, feel free to email me and I will reach out and get answers and then share back to the entire.
And our business cards are on all your folders too. Reach out to us anytime.
appreciate the work.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for the material.
You're welcome.
Quarterly reports of the Williams Airport complaints.
So we had no complaints for quarter 4. Or PCOE or PUSD.
Next up, we're going to discuss the developer fee justification study.
All right, so I will introduce this item. What's your last name? Chris Terry is here from Capital PFG. Now, Chris, for those who've been on the board for a while, you remember Chris, he helped with Measure B. Chris has done some work on the developer fee study for the district, maybe half a decade ago or so. And so he's here today to present the findings of his developer fee justification study. And I have presentations, so give me 10 seconds to share my screen and I'm going to drive forward.
That's what I'm looking for. Very good. Hey.
Make sure it wasn't mine. Good. All right. All right, thank you for having me. Appreciate the opportunity to come and present this. I'm here to help with the program. It's new, so I've never actually worked with the district that didn't have a fee study in place, so we get to actually do more setting up, not just with the district, but with the county and the city, because they're going to be involved as well. So this presentation is just a quick overview of the study itself. Go ahead and skip it. But I wanted to get into why you're able to do this. Most mitigation fees to impact new development can only be done by land use agencies, that will be your cities or counties. Special districts, when they want to do a mitigation fee for new development, they have to go through their land use agency. They have to get approval from them. A school district can actually impose its own fee through the ed code. It's you have to do it for your development, and you have to show that you're going to use it for the intended purposes. And then one of the things I didn't want to add for the ed code, because I understood it was a question, there is an exception. If somebody's reconstructing a home or business that was damaged, you don't apply the fee to them. So that's certainly not the case. It's really intended for just new development, adding new students to the district. The government code also plays a factor. There is a limit to how much the district can impose on these fees. There is a residential fee and there is a commercial industrial fee. Each one is justified slightly separately through a different equation. As you see in January, it was set at 517 for the residential, 84 for commercial. It's the SAB sets its state allocation work. They set this every 2 years. I think it came to 487 and 79 cents up to where it is now. It's usually based on inflation. That's how they come up with that. Okay. So your study itself is going to identify the purpose of the fee. That is to maintain your facilities so they can have room or are able to function for the addition of new students or new development. This fee study does state what the fee will be used for, which is, like I said, just construction. These last three are sort of weird terms: benefit, burden, proportionality. That's all an equation. And the fee study has the equation itself. It's going to look at a couple of factors that we'll go over in just a moment. First being capacity enrollment. As part of the study, we looked at maps of all of your school districts and actually understand the principals went out and assisted with counting classrooms that are used as classrooms. We have to set what your capacity is. And using your loading factor. So you have 25 students per classroom, and you have 48 elementary and 44 junior senior classrooms, giving you 1,200 and 1,100 respectively. Next to that, you see what your current enrollment is based on CBEDs. I know it changes in actuality, but we have to use a set number as our assumption. So you'll see right now, you have plenty of room. Next. We reached out to the county and Portola, the two land use agencies, to see what they have on the books. They're not going to have every single, we're not looking for like 5 or 1 or 3. We're looking for developments that are significant. So these are the two they reported back. And I think they've been there for a while. Don't know when they're going to be happening exactly. And you probably have better data than I do, because I know things change locally. But we are able to project that as potential enrollment increases in the district. Another reason why we also look at it over 10 years is we also, in the state code understands, you can't just order up a school or order up 5 classrooms in a month. So you can project going forward large influxes of students like this. We use something called student generation rate. You see it's 0.4 for TK and 0.3 for 7. That's a state generation rate that they use with their grant program. That's telling us the number of kids that we can anticipate to come out of each unit or by grade for each unit of development. And, hold on, sorry, so you'll see there's 1,194 units, 189 in one, 1,005 in the other. Using the 0.4, you'll see your TK students, 478 total by development, and with 0.3, you'll see your high school juniors, okay? So now we're gonna layer that on top of that capacity we just had that showed you had plenty, now you're short. That's why we're able to justify fee, because we can project that we don't have room. We need to do something to plan for students coming in. And you'll see there's 223 unhoused students. We're gonna break that up on the next slide between the two types of the schools. So you'll see 203 are in the elementary and 20 are high. With your 25 loading capacity, you'll need one classroom to satisfy the need for the juniors and senior highs. And you're gonna need 9 for the elementary for a total of 10. That's 10 classrooms. Yeah. We make an assumption here that it's gonna cost $500,000 per classroom. That's actually pretty conservative. It's probably more. But if we don't have to be aggressive, then why? So let's just go with this number. We can in the future adjust it as needed. So you're looking at 5 million. Before that, I said, when I say adjust in the future as needed, I said the SAB will update their fees every 2 years. Every 2 years, if you want to use the new fee, you have to update your study. So at that point, we can change that number if necessary. So your 10 classrooms at 500,000 each shows 5 million is needed. Okay, here's part of that. We have $5 million needs. You're going to divide that by the 223 students. And you're going to multiply times that 0.7 student generation. That's combined 0.4 and 0.3. So that gives you the $15,695 needed per unit. We have to translate 5 million to students and units. So we're at 15,695 each. We have a software called Partial Quest. We were able to look at new development in the county and the district, see what the size of homes are. That's an average. I think that's over 10 years. Gives a justified fee of $760 for residential. Okay. Commercial is a little different. There have been some studies that come up with the first column employees per average square units. It's like a study from 1990. But everybody uses it. It's an industry standard. We have to make an assumption on the employees related to each category that will grow inside the district. How many dwelling units each employee will need to be employed in that category. And we have your student generation rate again. And then we have the that's the raw cost per student. Previously, we multiplied by 0.7, so we don't show that here. And then you just multiply each one across the board to come up with your maximum justified fee. I do want to note where it says lodging at 0.78, that was hard entered. When I actually did the calculation, it's 321. So when you see the final study, it's going to say 321. Okay. So in the first slide, as you may recall, these are the numbers that were set in January by the SAB. So you justify 760 per square foot for residential, well over the number that's needed. So that's a fee the district will be able to assess. And every category except for self-storage was able to reach the commercial number of 84 cents. That's very common as well, because there's very few employees that are on a self-storage development. So that's why it's every study, it's really low.
That was the one that we did pass.
We did not say that, totally not. Okay, so that's a study, regularly how we implement it. Let's want to check for questions on how we got to these numbers. Or any questions over there?
I have a couple.
Sure.
So you said to update the study every 2 years.
Yes.
So what happens like if they come back and these developments in Portola have not been built yet? Does that, are we kind of at the same place? There's no, like, take it back. Like,
Yeah, we'll come back and look.
uh-huh.
If they're there, we will use them.
Okay,
If they're not there, okay. Let me say this. you have to update your study if you want to do the new fee. If you
Okay,
want- if you can leave- we can just do this and leave it as it is.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So as the new fee is assessed, if we want to go out, go look for that new fee, the increase in that number, then we would have to reevaluate.
Yes, well, yeah, pretty much, you don't have to. If we justified it, we saw it was close, but not the maximum, we may leave it in place. But if, we also need to be realistic, if it was very far off, you would be susceptible to challenges, because they would say, "Oh, that's not absolutely not right." So, but that's why you gotta look at it. And if we looked at it and it didn't make sense to proceed, we just stop it. But if we look at it and we think there's a concern, it's so low that it's a concern that you should do it just to be fair, we would advise that too at that time.
So does this apply to buildings currently in progress?
No, it's, when I get to the implementation, I'll just tell you, it's
I don't, you don't, if you're gonna get
Oh.
nervous, wait.
Yeah, it's coming.
$35 million on the road.
yeah.
I'm separating myself from that section. Go ahead.
And then my other question, or my question, not other, but along with that is, let's say one of those Portola is a 55 and older community. Then I'm assuming that we can't actually count that as
Correct.
students possibly coming in.
Yeah, we don't count age restricted because there's no students, so that wouldn't make sense.
Okay.
You actually can, you can assess the commercial fee on that, on that kind of
Okay.
property, that's what's that.
Okay. Thank you.
And how is that, is that like part of a tax bill? I'm just curious, how's that part of it, someone's,
So let me try to explain this, see if you've explained it to me correctly.
You know, so-
how is it assessed, I guess?
Okay, so when they bring their building plans to the building department, they verify the calculations on the plans, make sure the square footage is correct. And then there's a separate sign off sheet, just like you would in an area that charges a fire assessment or something. And so they bring their plans over to the school district. We verify the number, they pay the school district directly, we deposit the funds, so we don't have to wait for the county.
Okay.
And there's no middle person on that. And then we sign off the sheet saying funds received, and then they take it back and they can proceed with permitting.
A plus.
They will be held in a separate fund.
Yes,
Yeah, this is restricted money, it has to be used for the purpose of the fee study says it can be used for. Right.
Thanks.
Sure. Okay, let's go to the next part. So tonight, this is just an information item. Going over the study, the process itself. The next step is going to be the August board meeting coming back. You'll need to have a public hearing, which will have a public hearing application requirement in the local paper of choice. You will hold it here, and after that, you can then consider the resolution. We'll provide the resolution. The fees take effect 60 days later. I think it's October 13th, based on your next board date. We will need to coordinate with Portola and county, so they know that, as Bill mentioned, when they send a form, they need to be able to let people know what the fees are, so we'll be sharing the resolution. And we'll be sharing that this is the process, and need to make sure that every building permit comes your way. Which reminds me of the thought I also want to add, this is for every building permit, but it's for only for enclosed spaces. So if somebody gets a building permit to a patio cover, that's not an enclosed space, no fee. But if they add on a garage, they add on a bedroom, this is like or an infill project, they are subject to this fee as well. Okay. The accounting, yes, yeah, you're gonna create the called capital facilities fund, Fund 25 is the standard designation, that's what you will have. You get your check and make a deposit, that's where it will go. And then you also need to report your fees, because you can't actually just sit on your fees and let them accumulate. You need to spend them within 5 years. So every year, to do within like 180 days after the end of the fiscal year, most districts do it in September, October. You'll do a develop fee report, which I can help Mallory with. It states some basic items like this is what our fee rate was, beginning balance is the ending balance. This is what the fees are going to be used on. And it shows the project where the money was spent. That the purpose of that is to show the money was properly spent. People who pay the fee, they have a right to make sure that the fee that they pay was used appropriately. And then every 5 years, there's a slightly expanded report as well. that have more of a projection of what you're gonna do with the fees. Many districts actually just do them at the same time, so it's kind of a rolling process, and I can help with that as well.
And that gets reported where?
To,
You'll
To us.
present it to you, yes.
Thank you. Okay.
Yeah, you'll make it available on your website. You don't,
State reporting now
Yeah.
that's associated with it, like when I have to report to some sort of commission or. I mean, is this just all considered local?
it's a local.
It's a
Yeah.
local set up.
And not anything that we have to submit to the county either, because we're collecting it.
Probably
Okay.
as long as it's a publication for us, then.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
you're completely independent,
Okay.
it's yourself, I mean. I forget how you review your own. budget.
Because it's not
It's-
state money, because it's local, then we wouldn't have, you would still be the authorizing agent.
But if it has to be spent every 5 years, there must be some sort of oversight.
Or maybe audit wise, that as soon as we're like, if we would get in trouble if we got audited.
my guess is, that once we establish this, then we'll disclose that to Christie White and Associates, our auditors, and then they will add that to their audit checklist. And always, there's always a check and balance,
Yeah, right.
always. This is a new circus for us, so we're
I think
building
it'll
the planes with fire.
be easy to measure first in, first out, you know,
Yeah.
I think once we start deciding how we're gonna spend it, it's, yeah.
So you don't see it an extra overwhelming point for you and your staff.
Thank you for asking that. I hope to, I think there's so many other districts out there that collect these fees that I'll be able to have some help, somebody to reach out to. And Chris, you're here
We
for
can
us,
do the
right?
reporting.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, the 5-year report itself doesn't have like, it says it's a really weird title to give it, but it doesn't show like, you don't have to show like a rolling balance to show that you spent it. It's not part of it, it's just every 5 years, you just need to show what you plan on spending the money on.
Okay.
There's annual just shows what you spent it on, 5 years shows what you're gonna spend it on. And it's not even an amount, it's a statement, I think we're gonna spend it on this and this and this, so that's.
So we've identified that we're gonna spend it on something.
Yeah, so you want to put potential project, they don't have to happen, it's not like a project that's with a bond where you need to do these things, you say you're gonna do it. These are potential uses of your funds. And you're just supposed to do it every 5 years, but if you do it every year, you can reevaluate it and catch things, but there's actually not a calculation on the 5-year report itself showing. This money came in 5 years ago, and it's still here, it's,
so if a member of the public asks Mr. Brown what was spent on his payment, it's not like we pull up a spreadsheet or some sort of report to say, here, Mr. Brown, here's what we
yeah,
spent.
there's not a standing report that you prepare.
Okay,
If somebody did ask that, I'm not aware of any other method other than to look it up and then show, well, your money is spent here and we spend it, then you have to do that. I don't know of an actual formal report that shows that have it on hand. You could, but I've not heard of that.
So you don't have to reinvent a wheel either, so use our same process that we're already using.
with Measure B.
Yeah, I mean, like, just kind of, right, I mean, tracking wise, it can be really simple, meaning it doesn't.
Especially
so
because it's in its
crazy.
own fund.
Yeah.
You know, I think that helps, so.
Yeah, that's the sole purpose of Fund 25 is for development. We don't put other money in it.
And so, as soon as today's meeting is over, we already have the notice of public hearing is going to be posted outside. And then we will post it, we'll actually put this in the Mountain Messenger. Because I believe it's like, what we have to do with the bid process too, it has to go in a paper that's actually published. Mountain Messenger is our closest. And then, Miss is gonna work with Carrie, they're gonna put together an announcement, a PDF announcement, and go on the webpage. So nobody will be able to tell us that we did not push this out and publicize it.
Yeah, it's really going above and beyond. The only legal requirement is 2 publications, one 10-day, one 5-day prior to.
So transparent.
Yep.
On this all the way.
If we haven't already sent one to you, we actually prepared that.
Okay, even better.
Yeah.
Next slide.
So, are they?
Thank you.
So Diana was in that presentation, but could you remind what that these can be spent on?
Okay, they are meant to accommodate students from new development. So it doesn't mean you have to actually build a school. What it could mean is you could add a new classroom. You could have a building, a space that's not available for students, but spend money to make it available for students. You can refurbish a classroom to keep it. If you have a classroom that's bad, that's not damaged, you can't use it for repairs, you can't use it for maintenance. So it's kind of a.
So we need to
tricky
remove a
process.
cabinet so that way we can make more room for students. And
Yeah.
along with that, that means the floor has to get redone too.
And new room.
They're all attached, yeah.
Yeah, well, so like if we had to completely replace the roof to make sure that the building is watertight and is inhabitable for students, that's okay. But if we were to say we needed to repair a section of the roof because it had a leak, that's not okay.
Yeah, the tree falls on it and the damage, if somebody kicks a ball through the window, that's damage. But to maintain your facilities so they are can be used by new students coming in, that's the right way to go.
Okay.
And I understand you have a lot of facility expenditures, so I'm sure you'll find within them, you know, the right kinds of expenditures.
I guess one other question, so I don't know if developments actually call their development a second home.
Oh, accessory dwelling units?
No, not ADUs, no, like, cause we're a resort town, and like Commodore, so then that development is being marketed as a second home residence, is that still? Even if they're marketing it as such, it's still an opportunity for a full-time resident, so we can count it all, correct?
Yeah, and when they bring the building permit over, you can charge it. There's no,
Just making sure, 'cause I'm in that category. And we have a big one coming.
there's different types of mitigation fees. So for the schools, it doesn't matter. For say fire districts, they'll actually look at the home being used less, requiring less than need. If that's a special district for schools, there's no distinction between VRBOs or second houses and things like that. It's no difference.
Anything else? Okay, so connected to this, I guess there's the first reading of the board policy and the administrative regulation that goes along with this.
So, what I'll say about this is, these policies were prepared for us by CSBA Legal. And they are the most up-to-date and current versions that they've used with, districts who are updating their policies already. And they do not recommend any changes to these policies. That way we're consistent and defensible. So if in your reading of these policies, you come up with specific questions, please reach out to me because I don't feel I'd be qualified to give you an answer without reaching out to Alex at CSBA and getting an answer.
And then this will all come back on August 14th for the public hearing and for us to approve the board policy 7311 and admin regulation 7311.
Correct.
Great, sounds good, sir. Thank you. Let's move on to measure B.
Okay, measure B, project list, we have some projects on here. So I want to start with some work we're doing at Portola High School. If you remember back in March when we talked about measure B funds, the plan there was we're going to put a new gym floor in. Well, Rob Don, our director of maintenance, got the floor company out. And he said, you don't need a new floor. You need to maintain this one a little better, but the floor is good. And it would be a waste of us doing anything to it. So Sarah Sheridan, our principal out there, was always thinking. She went to her students and said, if we could spend $80,000 on the school, what do you guys want? And the kids went nuts. And so what we have here is a series of plans they're going to redo their trophy cases. They're going to redo their concession stand. And they are going to brand their school, including putting up banner signs, sign poles throughout campus, put a new sign up that lights up Portola High School, home of the Tigers. And so every idea that is on this list is student generated and all of the artwork that goes with it is student created. It is super cool. It's a series of projects that, you know, anywhere from 15,000 down to, you know, $5,000 to, like I said, building cabinets, you know, getting trophy cases built, special trophy cases. The light up sign with some of the stuff we'll handle in-house with our maintenance and running electricity to it, things like that. We've got Koonsman Fence, who's gonna come in and put in poles down the walkway from the main campus down to the football stadium that will have the brackets on it for banner signs. There's, when this is done, when you drive by the frontage street along the front of the school, all the big windows up high will have the mascot, and they'll say Tortola High School, which will also help with the sun coming in and causing those classrooms where we don't have air conditioning to overheat, so it provides a little extra shade there with the UV. They just came up with a really cool plan, and it came in under budget. It's really hard for me to say no, especially when you guys know my position on student driven. You know, when we're trying to build culture and we're trying to build, you know, student buy-in, let them really drive this series of projects. We have a couple of local contractors doing the work, which I know, I know the school board loves, that some of them have some affiliation with different employees in the district. So we'll be sending out Form 700s to those employees. But just looking at the series of projects there that we would like to, you know, have our blessing on and get those moving. I believe everything on here. 1 through 5. 1 through 5 and 7, 6. Yeah, 1 through 5 and 7 are Portola High School, and then item 6 is for Humboldt Fence to come in and fence off our new garden area at Alder School. We'll be running irrigation lines up there so we can move the garden, as the property the current garden is on has sold, and they are not wanting to redo the lease. So we are in there through October 1st. So everything's planned. The kids will get to benefit from through the end of the growing season, and then we will have the new garden ready to go in the spring.
Gonna go up on Upper Terrace?
Yeah, in the corner.
The shaded, you know, that shaded area.
Yeah, that shaded corner.
Being outside,
Oh.
that's like on the, you know,
I
the
think-
hill.
yeah.
on that
They've
shady hill.
consulted on
Now,
this,
there will be, yeah,
Yeah.
there, originally, we were gonna put it in the kindergarten area,
and there was not enough sun.
but there wasn't enough sun right there either, so. I
They've
have-
asked people. That would not be my will. They
Yeah,
said this would be the
I
guest.
live in a shady yard, I can't grow anything, so
Yeah.
that's, yeah.
So they are comfortable with the area, and maintenance is comfortable with being and bringing in the infrastructure for the garden project there, so.
Doesn't mess with the soccer field.
yeah, I don't know, you know, that's our baby, that upper terrace.
That's a
I don't know,
huge area,
it's like-
and that was my concern, because once you lose green space, you never get it back.
Yeah,
And Jordan has worked with Robin and everybody involved. They have assured us that the soccer area is protected and will still be able to house. It's also important to me. I love green space.
So my question is, we had kind of a laundry list of things that we could use it on. And so not to say that Portola doesn't get this, but was there anything else that needed the money more than these ideas?
Well, this is, I think if you reflect back, these were the projects that each school wanted to see, the high visibility, that we gave some discretion to. These are, you know, if we look at all the money we're gonna put into all the sites, and maybe it's $400,000. A lot of these are going to get more publicity, and the public will love these more than the $10 million we put into electrical and air conditioning upgrades.
Great.
Because you don't see them. You just, oh, you walk in, the building works. That's great. Oh, wow, this is great. Measure B did this.
Okay, just making
Yeah.
sure that there wasn't
that's
any
fine.
other things that we had on that priority list that we are gonna,
So everything that was pre-allocated by the board at the beginning. If you remember that list that we went through. Those wheels are all in motion. All those projects are moving forward.
Okay.
So that's all there. And then we took the rest of that money and it's basically allocated towards roofs.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's why I
I had
wanted
the same thought, but
Okay.
there's
Yeah.
still 30,000 there, so maybe if there's another school that has another, has
Uh-huh.
a similar student-driven project that. could meet the
Yeah,
benefit.
we're open to ideas. I just love the ideas of the kids getting behind things. And then wanting to try to figure out how we can support that.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree. I just, again, I mean, that was just making sure that we were.
And Sarah worked on this plan for 2 months. And I shot holes in everything I could to make sure she jumped through all the hoops. And
No, I love the project.
yeah, and they're passionate about it. The
Yeah.
kids are super excited, so.
I think you need to level everybody else up around Sarah. So that when they see the opportunities, they are ready as she is.
So here's what I will tell you is I have looked to the two high school principals. And said, she is setting a new bar, I expect. You to match that or exceed, and that they are, both Mr. Cooper and Mr. Hawkins are up to that challenge. They're very excited to see us building community and, I listened to. Coach Blunt talk at Rotary. And just, him so excited, he's just stumbling on his words about it, and it's like. That's good for Quincy High School and that's building that there in a different way. And I like to say Chester is Chester. They're just kind of a machine that keeps rolling. They really are proud of their school. And so, talk to Kevin, what are the things that you need? And so keep your eyes open as you're starting. What can we do? We've got some fencing and we had a long talk about just curb appeal. Yesterday, with Robin at all the schools. Because we're gonna talk a little bit more about that here in a little bit, but looking for approval on these Measure B projects.
Second.
First and a second, all of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Approved. What's next is facilities. Perhaps that you.
So I've got 2 facilities contracts, but I want to give you an update. All of our solar projects are signed off. They're all on grid and producing. And I sat on a meeting last week where they brought up the usage in real time and projected out. And our projects on all campuses are producing more than they projected that they would. I don't know if that has to do with the fact it was 105, but they're all online producing the way they're supposed to. All the fencing is done. They are all signed off with DSA and with PG&E. So the solar project is done. So with that, you're going to see some huge invoices come through in the next, probably in the August board meeting as we pay everybody out. But remember, that was part of that grant program we did to the state. So that money is in a fund and it was set aside. So it's not general fund expenditures. So those are coming. So I just want to give you an update on solar. We're down maintenance workers right now. We're looking to hire a new grounds person. And just, want to commend Robin, Don and his crew, because they are not only trying to get schools ready, but these crazy heat waves, they're trying to keep the grass green. And they're doing a great job. And so I appreciate his crew and the work that they're doing. He's got, I think, his whole maintenance crew out at Chester Elementary School painting hallways. Stuff that didn't get done with Measure B when we did the upgrade. So the older hallways matched all the new paint. So they're out doing that right now. The landscaping projects at CES are getting ready to start last week of July. So they'll be doing the front. They're going to fix all the irrigation and then put irrigation in on the backfield. And we mowed the new softball field for the first time. And I heard the maintenance ferry came and maybe blew all the grass clippings off so that the heat didn't scald the new sod. And so we're very appreciative of that out in that community. The contract for approval, we have Kern Electric and Alarm. They're doing the completion of the Greenville whole fire alarm system upgrade that was damaged and went haywire after the Dixie fire. And so that's on there. And then we have an interesting little title called Turf Tank. And part of what we're always trying to do is be equitable in our school sites. And so when you look at, say, football to soccer at Quincy High School, okay, the soccer team has little paint wands on a stick, and that's how they paint their field. Part of the thing is that paint's not great for the field, the ground, the whole thing. And we ran the numbers between Portola, Quincy, and the new field we put in at Chester High School. We've got $2.5 million worth of grass. Okay, and so what do we do to make lines permanent? You know, the old standard is you burn them in with diesel. That's not good for the environment. It's not good for the ground. So Jason Hawkins has been bugging me about this for 2 years. And I said, you know what, get the guy up here. I want to see a demonstration. Show me what this little robot painter does. And he brought the guy up. And we sat there, and in 45 minutes, we watched him program in the entire football field and paint a 25-yard practice field in 45 minutes. Environmentally friendly paint. Fields don't have to be painted except for every 2 to 3 weeks. And when we sign this contract, it will do every football field, every soccer field, every baseball field, every softball field, and the track. And we don't have to have coaches do it. So our coaches can concentrate on coaching kids. And I've got coaches at each end of the county that have to line their own fields. I've got a soccer coach at Quincy High School that lines their own field. But I've got a football team that has a practice field, but for game days, they get to go out to the river. That's not equitable for our coaches. So we looked at this. Yeah, it's expensive, but we're also making sure we're taking care of our grass the way we need to, making it equitable for our coaches, letting our coaches concentrate on kids. And we're making the proper investment. All this money we put into playing surfaces. And you can program this thing to literally do anything. And it's foolproof. I said, what happens if we go to mark the field at Quincy High School and we accidentally hit Portola? He said, it's insane. The little robot will start to drive to Portola. And then when it runs out of range from the transponder, it just stops. And then you hit a button and it turns around and it comes back to a controller. So you can't paint the wrong field. You can't paint the wrong, it's really neat. It's all GPS located, computerized. This is a 3-year lease. And we've got commitments from every booster club to make a small contribution to make sure everyone has a little skin in the game. What our plan is we will use their contribution to purchase proper paint. And Robin and maintenance will do all the paint ordering to make sure that it takes care of. This is a fully warranted robot for 3 years. Anything goes wrong, we call them and they fix it.
How does it get from Chester to Portola to Quincy?
So we're going to be looking to hire a new grounds person. And Robin's plan is he's going to make that person in charge of it. We're going to run this out of maintenance. But the nice thing is once it's programmed, so we can go, they'll have a little trailer, everything will be just specific for it. They'll take it out, start it, load it, send it on its way, and then they'll go weed eat the stadium and around the field and do their regular maintenance because you don't have to walk with it. We all stood by the goalposts and watched this thing just drive around and paint. And you went through and it is meticulous, not a mistake. So, you know, when Robin looked at it, he said, we'll only have to paint fields at the most every other week. And it will be more efficient. And because he was very skeptical before we started. And when it was done, he said, I am sold on this. And he's a hard guy to sell on things like this because he does, you know, he believes in the power of doing things on your own.
So is this a lease on it?
It's 3-year lease.
Right.
And I think when you're dealing with robots,
Yeah,
that's a smart way to do it.
no, great. That's why I wanted to make sure I was
Yeah.
reading that correctly.
It's a 3-year lease with, like I said, the maintenance is included. Service, they do, we pay 1 fee up front. They come around to all the school sites. They program in every field and load it in. And so when they show up with the robot, it's controlled by an iPad.
So the 1700 different.
Yep, and that's all the programming, and that's the first year cost.
Right.
Bill with the labor time spent on audits and all that, and certainly.
The custodian at Quincy High School, she's the one that actually goes to FRC and lines the fields.
Yeah.
And it takes her all day, and then it takes away from her duties at the school. And so when I thought about personnel
Yeah.
costs, it really makes up for it.
Yeah.
And the wear and tear on our poor
And-
custodians to go out there and.
We used to paint the field for football at Greenville High School. We'd start about 6 when practice was getting over on a Thursday. And we'd be out there sometimes to 11:30 at night. And then, you know, because you got a bunch of tired people painting and essentially with only the, you know, stadium lights to guide you. You know, it's not perfect.
And, you know, you see these things in the city, you see them in the schools where, you know, let's just call it what it is, where they have a lot of money and things like that. And you guys have heard me say this for 2 years, just because we live in the mountains doesn't mean our kids don't deserve the best. And when they walk out and they see a field that looks like, even in practice, it just makes them feel good about the effort they're putting in. And I'm super excited about being able to do it for soccer fields, because he said it's really easy. You, for a soccer field, you put it in phases. So it goes around, paints all the white lines, and then it comes back to the thing and it stops and a message comes up that says, change to red. And then you put in, then it goes and paints the other color line, because you're supposed to have different colored lines and we don't always get that the way we're supposed to. And so the unit is set up, and, you know, you can put in your school emblem if you want. Like for end zones, you can put in, so, you know, one end would say Chester, the other end would say Balls. You put it in, it goes through and paints it, and every time when it goes over, it hits the exact spot.
And then you said it's baseball and softball fields, so it'll be paint and not chalk on.
Yep.
On those ground.
And so all you do is an hour before you paint, you go out and you turn the sprinklers on, you wet the dirt. And so the sticks the dirt together, the paint goes over the top, it binds it together. It paints the batter's boxes, pitcher circle,
Right.
all the foul lines, the whole thing, and you hit paint and go weed eating it, and you just get out of its way.
Gosh, Little League's gonna wanna buy one of these things. That is-
I know, we have to rent it out.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
Get some of our money back.
Get an agreement there.
Mhm.
yeah, you can get an agreement there.
Make our
I
money
mean,
back,
seriously, why not?
Oh my gosh, great idea.
Why not?
cause then if they break it, then it's gonna be.
Yeah.
a
Is there
big-
more Bill you wanna talk about, or are you looking for?
No, I'm just looking for approval, but I wanted to talk about why we were doing something like this.
Sure.
And this is coming out of general fund.
No, we're actually, because it's maintaining
Oh,
all
I'm
the
sorry.
fields, there's some extra Measure B money in there. And if Measure B gets tight, yes, we are prepared to pay for this out of general fund, but we thought this was a good justification.
I'm approved.
Thank you.
Second.
Probably got a second, all of those in favor? Aye. Okay, passes, and
Excellent.
superintendent's update.
Okay, I have a very brief update for us today. Let me bring that up. So you hear with like professional baseball, so the dog days of summer. Summer is not fun. And for kids, a lot of times it is, but summer for staff that work 12 months, it's a grind. So I just want to spend this, you know, a few minutes recognizing our PCOE, PUSD staff for working throughout the summer. You know, some are directly serving students through summer programs. And with that, I want to point out that we're looking to build on our future generation of teachers and classified employees. We have close to 40 student workers working this summer in various roles throughout the county. And that's how we create the next generation of teachers. You know, let them find their passion. Most importantly, you know, not only are they providing us a service, but they're learning the value of putting in work, being dependable and serving their community. And so, you know, that's just really important work that's being done. You know, at the DO, Ed Services and Student Services they're busy planning events for the start of the 24-25 school year to be ready for kids. Special thanks to our fiscal department for their work, because right now they've got a foot in each world. They're closing out 23-24. And then they've rolled over the 24-25 school year to make sure that everything is being ordered and we have what we need to start the school year. HR is in the middle of the onboarding process for all of our new hires. They're facilitating a transition for the PCTA to Central Valley Trust for insurance. As well as continuing to recruit for the open positions that we still have. And finally, maintenance and transportation, they're working hard to not only keep everything moving forward for our summer programs where all our facilities are in use, basically. We're busing kids every day, but they're also maintaining all the vehicles, getting them serviced for next, for the start of the school year. They're doing summer projects and just very grateful for the, team PCOE and team PUSD, and all the work they're doing because it never stops. It is a constant process. And the old adage is that, well, school districts shut down in the summer and it's, no, for the folks that work at the DO, they manage to get a little bit of time, but the carousel keeps turning. So just, my report is just a thank you to all those folks who work so hard in the summer.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you, sir. And there's some policy updates.
Yes, if you look at the policy, Megan, which was the one you asked me about, I forget. It was on,
This was, I think, a different one. This was about suspension.
okay, that's, okay, different one. All right, we were working on
It was
different
last-
policies, I was making sure I was confused. Everything here is, again, as always, CSBA approved and recommended to make us bulletproof. And, we wanna make sure our policies are up to date. And this is what we're doing. Does anyone have any questions about any policies? If not, I recommend a blanket approval.
Second.
First and the second, all of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes, and then we have the consent agenda, including minutes for first May 8th.
Okay, who wasn't at the May 8th? Because we didn't approve last time because we didn't have consent.
Jody was absent.
Jody, yeah.
Okay, so I think we have quorum.
I will move to approve the May 8th.
When I was there for that one.
Yeah.
So we have a first,
Yes, it was. Okay, I second.
you second,
Let's go.
we have a first and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Aye, passes, June 18th, board meeting. The meeting, if anybody forgets where we had the public hearing for the various budgets and stuff related material.
I'm going to approve.
Second.
First and a second, all of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Abstain. Thought I was here, but it's.
You were here,
It says on, well, when we need to amend.
I think you were
because it
late.
says not present.
right?
Yeah,
You were late, you
I
were
was
late.
late, that's
You
why
were,
I was
you were late. Some came up. I remember.
The keys.
Sorry, I didn't mean
You
to
had
say it like
keys.
that.
You had
Just
keys.
statement, you were late.
We won't say that to you.
Oh, it was just for sort of.
All right, make sure you put that on there, that I wasn't not here, I was just late.
Is that a yes?
Was what he-
All three, aye.
Aye.
We have three ayes. Aye, all those passes. And then June 21st is only approved all the stuff that we did the hearings for on June 18th.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
I don't believe I was here.
You were not.
Okay, so, but we have a forum, first and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, it passes. Service contracts. Anything worthwhile we're gonna discuss? I mean, they're all worthwhile.
It's anything controversial.
So do we replace the computers like on a rolling basis?
Yes, we, student and staff both, and so that 393,000, is, we defer a third, we only pay 1/3 and then defer 2/3 out, so.
Okay, a third of it each year.
And this is for student, we also went from laptops to district-wide Chrome, we're moving into district-wide Chromebooks. So it's a cost saving. Don't we allow our seniors actually to buy our Chromebooks that way? We did, I thought we did it one.
They might have, maybe right after COVID, but I don't believe we're doing that now because we have to return the refurbishment.
And items 5 and 8 don't have a dollar amount.
So it's a service that. So you sign up on the food service portion of it, but the cost of it is within our interagency agreement with Charter.
So.
I'll make a motion to.
And I saw 5, Dave, sorry, I didn't see where they're, like,
Oh,
it's 3,000 for number 6.
And 8's here, Cascade Family.
And number 8. And it says interagency agreement
It's
provided.
basically the same
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
thing.
I make a motion to approve.
Second.
First and a second, all of those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes. And check registers for the month.
I'll move to approve.
One second.
First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Passes, and then we have donations. Here to be the standard PG&E payroll match. that we see
Oh,
regularly.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
And is there actually any field trips?
Sports.
Because the public agenda says that there is no field trips, but I think our,
I think she added it after, because I published on Thursday because I was out. I posted a day early, so she put it
There's
in.
like 5 on there.
Yeah, there's
The
5.
ones I printed,
so even though it wasn't publicized, then
and it was publicized, but not
Okay.
in the printed version
Okay.
that I created. It was on the website.
thanks, looking for approval.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
First and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. At this time, we're going into closed session. We'll come back in a little while with other stuff. So we'll take a break for a few minutes.
Thank you. All right, well. They believe we could stay.
No.
Yeah.
So we need to do it.